forget the magic of life. Forget the silence too, forget the seeking, just living according to what's happening. As you say, it's so simple, irrelevant. For me, the most important thing is to realize to realize we are instruments, aren't we? Kisses. Yes. Bisous. Yes, we are instruments playing out. And that's how you really integrate the shadow and see the shadow side on the human level, is realizing that it's not you doing it. To realize that you have darkness inside of you as well as light can only be really recognized on the human level if you see that's not you. When it's you can't admit that. You have to be always light. You can't admit that there can be selfishness or greed, anger, revenge. It's so difficult. Ironically, without acknowledging your shadow side, it's how people let abuse happen. This complete ignorance and ignoring of the shadow side that all of us have, including myself. It's part of being human. We are predators at the end of the day, the most successful predator on this planet. Normally when I mention this, I notice that people cut off from listening because you can't bear it. You can't bear to hear that. You have to be good. You have to be better than someone else. But we are the most successful predators. I mean, every time you put bleach down the toilet, so say if that's something that you do, I'm sure that everyone is that's listening is eco-friendly, but say you put bleach, and sometimes I resort to bleach because I can't get those darn stains out of my toilets. I try to use the eco stuff as much as I can, but sometimes the stains get really bad. But say you put bleach down your toilet, what do you think you're doing in that action? You're killing loads of other life forms. It's the same with cleaning your house and your garden, like trying to keep certain pests out. I try my best to go around and collect the spiders rather than vacuuming up, but I've got to admit sometimes I vacuum them up. What do you think what you're doing every time you eat? Especially if you're eating an animal. But even if you eat vegetables, like all of the slugs and the insects that were killed in that. Your fantasy about goodness is just a fantasy. And our society is so terrified of badness, it hides it from you. So our meat is nicely packaged in the supermarket. If you eat meat in this conversation, then if you eat dairy in this conversation, then you've got more to think about on this line. But even the people that don't eat dairy. But what I mean is that it's easier to see it. You don't kill the animal, but you're paying someone to kill it. And what would happen to you if you were hungry in the jungle? Would you kill it? How would you kill it? Is your life form more important than someone else's? When you eat meat every time, is your life force more important than other people's? Than someone else's? What about when you buy your clothes? How do you think that happens? You can pretend that you're ignorant and that you don't know where your clothes come from. But you're not ignorant. Everybody in this society is either really incredibly stupid or they realize where their clothes comes from. That is a hunter. You realize that in order for you to have lots of clothes and lots of selections and you to be able to live your lifestyle, there has to be other people working like slaves in other countries, and you know that for a fact. I know that. I fall prey to buying sweatshop clothes. I'm really trying hard not to, but I fall prey to something pretty. But all of us know that. We know that with our home, with our environment, when you build your house, there's a chopping down of trees, there's taking from animals. You are a predator. we're also I think we're like opportunivores, so we're also scavengers as well, and like collect berries. But don't be deluded by what you would do in the worst possible situation. I know you'd like to imagine that you'd suddenly be like the Buddha, like, I'm just going to meditate this out. But you're human. You know, if your kids weren't being fed, what would you do? But even what would you do just if you really hated someone, which most people do is hate. They hate someone. So it's like looking and acknowledging this dark side in you. And in order to keep the dark side out, you have to live up in your head. If you want to acknowledge your dark side, then you have to get to know your body, because your body doesn't lie. And when your body feels competition with another, it's totally honest. But on the surface level of thinking, on the image of you level, then you'll be telling yourself how lovely, how wonderful that person is, but your body's in competition. Your body's competing for somebody's attention, or competing for their man, or competing for their man's attention. But your surface level is in complete denial of that, because that would be seen as something bad. So your surface, oh, what a lovely couple they are. I really enjoy speaking to them, when you're flirting away. And then if someone confronts you, how dare you? Of course I'm not doing that. How dare you? Of course I'm not seeking for attention in that way. I can't believe you would think that of me. Or competing with someone at work, or putting someone down passive aggressively. Your body always knows. That's why people are terrified of their bodies, because they've got this image that they need to live up to. But you can only truly accept all of this on the human level, that the human is an animal, if an evolving animal, and I'm sure in the future it's got the opportunity to evolve to be a lot kinder and nicer, but that can only be truly accepted, the dark side, if you see that the body is an instrument, that it's not really you. If you believe the body is you, then you're always going to have to try and be the perfect person, or daydream about being the perfect person. Thank you for your question.